Hi everybody. I think almost all of you know me. My name's Emily Irvine. I'm the climate program manager for the city, and I'm going to give you all an update on what we've been up to over the last couple of months. I know that the decarbonization study is probably on everybody's mind, so I'm going to share a few things about that. And I guess if you have a big question, maybe we'll wait till the end for questions, but I'm going to um, give you guys an update of what we've been up to. And then I have a couple of special projects that I will go into a little bit more in depth about. And then I'm happy to answer any questions. So I kind of grouped it just by grouped my updates by sector. So I'm going to start with talking about what we've been doing in the buildings and energy space, since you all probably know that's our biggest slice of our emissions pie is from our built environment. So I know many of you have been following this, but after many years of work on the part of Crystal, my boss, the director of the Office of Sustainability, we were finally able to get Charlottesville enrolled in the state CPACE program in the fall. And so we're really pleased to have gotten that over the finish line. We are going to be collaborating with the county later this year on some sort of publicity and education around the CPACE program. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's a financing mechanism for clean energy and resilience projects available to commercial builders. And so we're going to try to get some interest in uptake of that program later in the spring. A project that I'm pretty excited about that we have kicked off recently is our municipal green building standards. So that will be a high performance building standard that is for all new city buildings and major renovations. It's been really cool. We're working with an architect who's also got an engineering firm as a subcontractor to sort of guide us through that project. And it's been bringing people together from across departments. So the Office of Sustainability, our facilities development colleagues, our facilities maintenance colleagues, and really facilitating a lot of conversations that have needed to happen around the built environment and municipal buildings. So that project is midstream right now. We've had quite a few meetings, and we expect a final deliverable probably late spring, early summer time. So that's been really good. We've got the support of the Public Works Department, and it's really facilitated a lot of good conversations. The new bypass fire station that's been under construction is getting towards the end of the construction project. That's a solar powered building. The solar array on the roof of that building covers about 25% of the building's energy needs. So we're excited that that's a new city solar project. The other upcoming solar installation we have is on K-Tech, and that will happen over the summer. So we're excited to have gotten that solar project moving forward also. The two biggest solar opportunities on city facilities are CHS and the new Charlottesville Middle School building. And so Charlottesville High School has had a solar array on it that was installed years back, but it was time for a roof replacement. So most of those solar panels have come down off of the roof of CHS as it's replaced in phases. And we're working on a project with Parks and Rec to repurpose those older solar panels onto parks facilities. And then we are working through a power purchase agreement to fund those two big solar arrays on CHS and Charlottesville Middle School. Our energy and water management program is an ongoing program to save energy and water in city facilities. And that, of course, includes our school buildings. In the past year, we've been able to get a master energy performance agreement or contract up and running. We did energy audits on all of our city facilities, and So now we're working through the projects that process teed up and recommended. The first project that's been done through that contracting mechanism, it's like a design build contracting mechanism to get those projects done in municipal facilities. The first one was recently finished, and the second one is in development. And so those are energy savings projects that will help us with our energy goals that we will be able to move through city facilities over time and try to realize some of that energy savings and roll it into the next project. Randy, you have a question.
How many municipal buildings are there?
Oh, that's a great question. Do I know the answer to that off of the top of my head? There's actually quite a lot. So there's about, let's see, about 18, but I don't know if it's like the city actually owns quite a few. Like the city owns the building that the Discovery Museum is in downtown. I didn't realize that. So the portfolio of like what you think of as schools and municipal facilities like rec centers and things like that, it's about 18 buildings, but we do have a lot of smaller properties around. We own a couple of houses that are zoned commercial that house offices, like our Office of Human Services is on Jefferson Street, East Jefferson Street. So I can find out that number, but I don't know off the top of my head. It's probably more in the neighborhood of like 30. But I need to, don't quote me on that exactly. And so now I'm to the big gas decarbonization study item. So it was, I don't know if you all noticed, but the decarbonization study was published on the utilities website this afternoon. It will get a mention today at the council meeting, which is happening right now in the city manager's report, but it is not a presentation by utilities. It is just an acknowledgement that the report has been published and posted on the city's website. The Office of Sustainability is a little, we knew that the decarbonization study would not result in a decarbonization plan. We knew that this would be the first step in many towards decarbonizing our gas utility, and it is a smaller step than we were hoping, is the way I will characterize it. And we can talk about that later. You guys are welcome to ask me questions and I will do my best to answer them. We have some unanswered questions. I don't completely understand some of the calculations that are in there. And I, in our minds, speaking for our office, we still have some questions that we need to get to the bottom of before I can make a sound judgment about the outcome, which that I know that's disappointing.
Sorry, Emily. Yeah, sorry. I'm looking for how to raise my hand. For some reason, I'm not seeing it, so I have to speak up.
I see you.
Will there be a presentation, right? You said this evening there is no presentation. Do you know of an upcoming council meeting when there
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know.
Do you think there will be, or you just don't know of one being scheduled yet?
Both. I don't know.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of expectation that there would be a report, and if there is some pushing, there could be a presentation. It will be interesting to me to see if council wants a presentation.
Okay.
But I don't know that they had seen the report before today either. And so to me, like, I wish I had a better answer about what the next steps are, but I really don't know.
All right.
It's the decision about that is one that happens above me.
All right.
So I just don't know.
Now, last thing. So is the report, how would you find it? Would you go to the utilities section of the city website?
Yeah, so on the utilities page, they have a page dedicated to the gas utility. When I'm done presenting, I'll pull it up and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
So I am gonna, let's see, I'm trying to advance my slides here. Okay. And we can talk, I'm happy to answer questions as I can about that. So transportation, we have 2 school buses coming, 2 electric school buses. They've been ordered and they will be here in late summer or early fall. School starts a little early this next year. And so I'm trying not to get my hopes up that they'll be here before school starts, but I kind of hope they'll be here before school starts. But our distributor is telling us it's about a 9-month lead time on electric school buses. So they've been ordered and they'll be here when they get here. We also put in an application for 2 more electric school buses in that next round of EPA Clean School Bus funding. That grant application was due last week, and we got ours in. We did hear.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
We did hear that there was like $970 million that was allocated to the program, to that round of funding, and that 500 jurisdictions across the country put in $900 million worth of requests. And so maybe that means that all the requests will be funded and that we will get our additional 2 school buses, but we won't know for sure until they say they're going to let us know in May. And I have not heard that program is under threat from our new administration, but it is hard to know anything that's happening in Washington right now. Our office is taking advantage of the charging infrastructure program that Dominion offers. And so Trey from my team is working really closely to get the charging infrastructure for the school buses installed at the school bus yard. And so we'll be ready to charge before the buses arrive. The other thing we're doing, the other thing we're doing related to school buses is we have technical assistance from NREL to do a full school bus electrification plan. And so that will be a financial analysis and a route analysis. We're really pleased with the level of assistance that we're getting. That process kicked off in December, and we'll have a deliverable. It's a 6-month period of performance on our technical assistance, so we should have a final report by summer. And there has been some hesitancy from our pupil transportation colleagues to get a ton of buses before we have a plan. So we are hoping that this will sort of grease the wheels and help us to take advantage of future funding opportunities for school buses without the sort of hesitation from the folks who run the school bus program. So we've been pleased with that project. We continue to support CAT with their zero emissions bus transition planning. There are many steps that are required by DRPT, the state transit authority. And we've been through site planning, and the next step is environmental review of the site, and they're working on procurement. We're also supporting their charging needs. And so that is a very multi-layered, complicated process, and we continue to support CAT. They they have a new project manager who's working on that project, and we have a really good relationship with him, and we're meeting with him monthly to support whatever they need from us. And it feels like it's going pretty well. Oh, I thought of something else I wanted to say in that vein. What was it? Oh, yes. So one fun thing that we're partnering with CAT on that will be forthcoming is, I don't know if you all have noticed, but there are a couple of naked buses running around out there, buses that don't have any wraps or branding. They're just totally white. So the Office of Sustainability is partnering with CAT. We're going to do an art contest that'll be launching in a couple of weeks to have local artists submit sustainability related designs to wrap those buses, just to raise awareness about the transition plans and sustainability and the importance of getting on the bus as a way to reduce car trips. So that's kind of a fun thing that we're partnering with CAT on. That'll be forthcoming. You all may have heard in the news that we launched at the beginning of this month our e-bike incentive program. We're partnering with neighborhood development, our transportation planning colleagues on that project. If you're a city resident and you're interested in putting your name in the hat for an e-bike, that first round of rebates is open until January 31st. The drawing will be on, I think, February 5th. Yes, Randy.
I was not aware of this program, but one of the groups I was talking to was looking for exactly this kind of thing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that program?
Yeah, so it's a pilot program. We're trying it out. E-bike incentive programs have been really popular in a lot of cities across the country. And so we have $100,000 to give away $100,000 e-bike vouchers. We've been working with our 3 locally owned bike shops, and so we'll pick 25 names per quarter. We'll do this lottery system drawing once a quarter. So you'll have the first month of the quarter to register, and then the drawing will happen at the beginning of the second month, and then you'll have 60 days to redeem the voucher at one of our 3 local bike shops. And we've been working with the bike shops to try to stock models that are at a more affordable price point so that the voucher will cover the majority of the price of the bike. And also, we felt like it was really important to work with the local bike shops so that people would have access to service in case they needed their bike serviced.
I've been very happy with Blue Ridge Cyclery and the e-bike I got from them and the service that I've gotten from them. But my bike was on sale and cost $1,800. So I hope they've got some cheaper models out there.
Yeah, they've really been working to try to get them to stock some lower price point bikes on the floor in the Charlottesville shops. Tommy, our bicycle pedestrian coordinator, has been the point guy on that. And we realize that it's hard to, e-bikes are a little bit expensive. It's hard to get an e-bike for just $1,000. And so we are also working on a program to reach our very lowest income residents to possibly be able to just cover the entire cost of an e-bike. But this program, we wanted it to be broad, available to the whole community, because really our main outcome is to try to reduce car trips. And so everybody drives, and we're just piloting this to see how it goes, to see how it's received. We're looking forward to getting some data and learning who applied, where those folks are in the city. And so we're excited to be trying this out. We are having next week on the 29th, we're having an e-bike demo day. It's going to be at the Ting Pavilion. It's open to the public. If you want to try out an e-bike, if you've never ridden an e-bike, you're welcome to come try them out. All 3 of the bike shops will be there. And it's, I think it's 11:30 to 1:30 at Ting Pavilion. So we're doing that next week, the 29th. What else did I want to say about e-bikes? Oh, yes, it's amazing. We've had a lot of interest and over 800 people had signed up as of last time I checked, which was the middle of last week, which I think is crazy. Some of those people must be Albemarle County residents, but so far it seems to be well received. We are also just kicking off a community EV charging infrastructure study. And that is going to look at charging needs. It's going to look at rates of EV adoption and EV adoption projection for our area and help us figure out where the gaps are in charging, how much charging needs to be developed to keep up with demand. And there will be some community engagement around that project. It hasn't been announced yet. We were really just like sort of getting this off the ground with staff at this point, and it'll be sort of it'll probably be most of this year that this process is going on. It's modeled on some studies that a few other communities in Virginia have done, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and we've been in touch with staff there to learn some lessons from them, and Charlottesville our own study. And it is also going to look at light duty city fleet transition and charging needs. So we're looking forward to getting that study really off the ground. It just kicked off a couple of weeks ago internally, and you guys will start seeing stuff about it publicly in the next couple of months. So a couple of other things we've been up to. Our city energy manager is leading our street light conversion project that started. They've done one pilot section. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but on the bypass between like the light at Hydraulic and that exit behind the next Bodos, there's been some replacement of some of those street lights there with LED lights. That was our sort of pilot test area, and the exit off the bypass that goes up Rugby Road, that's had some of their lights replaced too. So we are gonna go through the whole city and replace the current street lights with LED bulbs. It's expected to have a short payback period, so start saving the city some money. You all probably know most of the streetlights in the city are owned by Dominion, so we have to work with Dominion to do that project. And our city energy manager, Kirk Vizier, is the point person who's managing that. We are also working on.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Martha.
The LED lights. Where are they on the spectrum of blue?
They're at the lower end. Yes, they're at the lower end of the lumen spectrum. They're as low as Dominion offers.
So it's more towards the warmer wavelength?
Yes, warmer. Yes. So we actually, going into the project, we had quite a lot of, I don't know if you all remember, but it was, I think 2 years ago, it was around the time the Climate Action Plan was adopted, City Council decided to fund this project. So pretty soon after that, this project got funded, we had quite a lot of interest from the community folks who were concerned about the ecological impact of too bright, really white light. And so we've had quite a few meetings with folks who are experts in that. And we have worked to try to pick the best, most ecologically friendly lighting that is available to us. So we knew that was going to be a concern. And let's see, I believe we have a website there. We have a page on the website that talks about it. You can learn some more detail. We're working on updating our urban forest management plan. That will look at both public and private land, because that's the only way to really holistically look at our urban canopy. And that project is also just kicking off. It's been a big collaboration with parks and our urban forester to start getting that project rolling. The city has an urban forest management plan, but it is pretty dated now. And it's really time for an update. And it is also time to make sure that we include private land. So that is up and coming. A project that's been fun for us that we've been working on over the last couple of months is a landscaping electrification pilot program. So we've been working with our parks department to start providing them with some electric landscaping equipment. We delivered electric leaf blowers of various types and an electric trimmer to our downtown mall crews just a few weeks ago, and they're testing them out. And Trey was walking around the office just today with a battery backpack on. And so far we've been getting good reviews, and we have usage trackers on them. And so that's been a fun project to get kicked off. Yes, Christine.
I just want to say I'm really happy to hear that, because landscape equipment is incredibly polluting.
I know, it's remarkable.
I know the size of it. It's just mind-boggling.
So, I know those two-stroke engines are dirty.
Oh, they're horrible. Thank you.
Well, and we hope they're better for the health of our parks colleagues. Those guys run those blowers for hours, sure. Breathing in all those fumes. So we hope that they really like them.
The battery power was also less noisy and not as loud.
Yeah. And so we've also been working with the skate park they already had a little bit of electric landscaping equipment, but we've been looking at electric mowers for the skate park because they are kind of a contained area. They have all their own landscaping equipment that they keep there on site. So they're kind of a good testing ground. And we have a good relationship with Matt over there who runs the skate park. So that's part of this pilot program too.
Can I ask, relative to the leaf blower thing, is there an awareness by Parks and Rec to leave the leaves as much as they can underneath the trees?
I think so. So we've started on the downtown mall, which they blow the mall every day, and
sure,
leaving the leaves is not really applicable there. I feel like our parks guys, at least some of the folks in leadership understand, some of what we think of as sustainable landscaping practices and the importance of native plantings and things like that. Some of that might be considered with our urban forest management plan. And, the Office of Sustainability is always looking for new ways to support our colleagues in moving sustainability forward. So I think that could be an opportunity moving forward also. And I will mention one of the special projects I'm going to share about in a few minutes might sort of get an answer to that question too.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bill.
Only on the landscape equipment, is there may be, I live in the county, has there been any effort to raise awareness on the private sector side about the?
So, there has not been a big effort to educate the public about the importance of electrifying landscaping equipment. We do sometimes throw around the idea of maybe doing a buyback program. Some communities do that, but we have not moved forward on that yet. Moving into the next item on the list, we are making an offer to a 7th person on the sustainability team. That person will be an engagement coordinator that is dedicated to the Office of Sustainability. So we are going to soon have increased capacity to do sort of public awareness campaigns like that when this person gets on board. We're really hoping she can help us get straight on sort of a unified communications plan, and we can sort of be better equipped to have someone whose job it is to help us with education campaigns like that. Because when we're often doing a lot of the technical work, it can be hard to also communicate well about it. And so we're all really looking forward to having somebody on the team, on the sustainability team, who's dedicated to communication and engagement.
Sorry, hi Sheila. Hi.
Hi, Jayla.
I just wanted to chime in. So in addition to that, I'm really excited to meet your engagement coordinator because I've heard just amazing things. But LEAP also focuses on electrification, at least we're trying to. So if there are any initiatives of the city in terms of like promoting electrified or electric appliances or tools with your engagement coordinator, I definitely want us to be involved in that because I know we could really support you in those efforts.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope when she's onboarded, you all just have each other on speed dial.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So another thing that we've been doing is our office has been supporting an effort. It's kind of led by Parks and Rec, but it is also really community led. It's called CHIP. It's the Charlottesville Invasive Plant Partnership. And Steve Gaines, our urban forester, wanted to bring together some of the organizations who are really focused on invasive species management. So Blue Ridge Prism and the Tree Stewards and some other groups like that. And they are working at the neighborhood level to help organize residents to be better educated about the problem of invasive vines and doing training to help people understand how to manage invasive vines. So that's a partnership that's been getting off the ground over the last couple of months. They've been active in a couple of specific neighborhoods. They've presented at the quarterly neighborhood leaders meeting to help raise awareness about this issue and to help make connections in communities so they can do these trainings and help to sort of train folks how to manage invasive plants, and especially invasive vines, which we know are really harming our tree canopy. And another outreach thing that we have been working on in the last couple of months, we had our first one in December, are these climate cafes. Our first one was focused on electric vehicles. We were just trying to bring people together to facilitate a conversation, ask questions, talk about sustainability topics from different angles. Our first one was very successful. We had 40-ish people come on a Friday morning to the Bradbury on the downtown mall to talk about electric vehicles. It was fun. I was representing folks who I was being an EV driver and sharing my experience as an EV driver and talking to folks who are EV curious. And our February Climate Cafe, it is on Valentine's Day. Actually, it's at 9:30 on Valentine's Day. I think it's at the Bradbury again. The focus will be invasive plants. So we would love to have any of you all join us if that is a topic that's of interest to you all. I just wanted to say a few words about Resilient Together. I know you all had a presentation from Jamie from the county not long ago, so maybe he talked about Resilient Together. But this is our adaptation and resilience planning process that is happening in collaboration with UVA and the county. We're midstream. We're transitioning now from our discover phase into the design phase. We had a really wonderful climate resilience cohort meeting today. So that's our EPA grant funded community engagement piece. And we have 9 nonprofit organizations that serve more vulnerable community members that we bring together to help us engage the folks that they serve as part of this project. And I feel like it's moving along quite nicely, and there will be quite a lot of community engagement related to this project coming up starting in the spring. And so keep your eyes open for that. One thing that we're working on that I'm very excited about is called our Community Energy Resource Hub. We are working with LEAP and with C3 and the county to launch this effort, and it is going to be both an online resource and an in-person resource, a real human being called an energy navigator whose job it is to help folks understand and access clean energy rebates, whether they're from our utilities or from the state or from the federal government. They're difficult to navigate. Folks, even folks who understand the need for energy efficiency or for electrification, it's still very complicated, and we want to help folks to access these funds and braid them together. Yes, Randy.
When we replaced our HVAC system back in Fairfax County, it was actually our contractor, the salesperson,
Mhm.
who knew all about these programs, and he's the one that guided us in doing it. So if you train them, you've got a huge multiplier.
Yeah, we are trying to work with contractors. That's a piece of what we're trying to do because we understand that they're often your first point of contact when you have a need. And if you run into a contractor who doesn't know anything about heat pumps, then you might get steered away from a heat pump. So we have an awareness that they're such an important piece of this puzzle. And that's part of what we're trying to do. The other thing that is related that kind of shakes hands with this is we are using our EECBG, which is part of the IRA that is allocated to communities with formula funding. We're using that piece of funding to fund residential energy audits for folks up to 150% AMI. So just call up LEAP. They'll say, hey, if you live in the city and you're under this income threshold, we'll give you a free energy audit. And oh, by the way, we have an extra level of local incentives. So we're hoping that these programs together with the Resource Hub can really help our community to be able to take advantage of home energy rebates. And the Resource Hub will also, C3's partnership is enabling this to also be offered to commercial properties, business owners as well. So this will be launching very soon. So keep your eyes open or your ears open. And then the last program I want to highlight is this is an internal city staff focused program, but we're kicking off in the next couple of months this sustainability in the workplace program. And it's really, now that we are the Office of Sustainability, we really want to help our colleagues across the city organization know that we are a resource. We are here to help. We're going to do some outreach campaigns to help educate our colleagues about sustainability topics. And part of it will also be an interdepartmental climate action working group to help hold each other accountable to our internal city sustainability goals. Whew, that's a lot of talking, and I want to be mindful of my time because I know Kirk is talking this evening too, but I am happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Yeah, let's see if we got one or two questions, and then we probably do need to wrap up and move on to Kirk. Is there anyone who has, well, first of all, thank you, Emily. Really good presentation. Great to hear from you. Lots of exciting things to go on. Emily, I'll let you call. I see Bill has a hand up.
Let's see. I saw Christine first.
Okay.
And even though you didn't get your Zoom hand up, I did see you waving frantically.
I'm sorry. My mouse has died. I'm inhibited in what I can do. A week ago, I went to the Albemarle County Planning Commission hearing on their proposed ordinance for commercial solar power, and talk about disappointing. Things went backwards. That's because the southern portion of Albemarle County talked about their view sheds and their history and how they don't like urban residents. And anyway, does Charlottesville have anything like that, commercial solar ordinance?
So we do not. And just because we don't have open space, that could accommodate any kind of utility scale solar. So, I think the biggest barrier to large solar installations within the city would just be Dominion's interconnection fee for larger systems. And so there's not really a need for an ordinance. Any advocacy around lowering barriers that Dominion puts up, like at the state level, would benefit larger systems in Charlottesville. For example, we ran into that trying to plan for a solar system at CHS when we were putting in a grant to try to get that funded.
Yeah.
The larger your system, when you get above a certain threshold, they start cranking up some fees that do make it pretty, like it changes the math. And so advocacy at the state level around lowering those barriers would be useful, but since we don't really have any space for utility scale solar, that's not really a city concern with an ordinance. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Peter.
Katrina Coulson is sponsoring a bill in the House that removes the requirement, or basically lowers the barriers for funding for solar power generation facilities with a capacity of 50 kilowatts or less.
Well, good.
That might be applicable to the city. I could ask her that tomorrow when a group of us are meeting her.
Cool. Yeah. I hope she's successful. There's a lot going on between what's happening at the federal level and the General Assembly session. It's hard to track all the policy stuff.
Well, the federal level is a complete, what show.
So, Bill, I saw that you had a hand up a minute ago, and I do want to, James, cut us off if you need to.
No, it's fine. I wanted to make sure Peter got his comment, and he hadn't talked. My question, and maybe it's an unknowable. You had a lot of looking at EV and planning charging stations and so on. Is any of that federally funded, or is there a dependency on federal funding, and is that going to end?
So for EV charging infrastructure, so the way that most communities are handling it these days, in the early days of EV adoption and installing charging infrastructure, a lot of municipalities were trying to fund it to get it off the ground. But the way that it generally works now is you contract with a third party, and they are able to make some money off of the off of their service that they're providing. And so the study is really looking at where the need is. Like, if it is at a city-owned site, can we partner? Like, what could we do to make it appealing to a third party to come in and offer the charging at our sites? And then also where the private sector could come in on private property, and where it would be advantageous to put in charging. And also, we have a high rental rate. Like, how can we work with developers or property owners to make sure that charging is available to folks who rent or in multifamily properties? And that might be a requirement, or we offer an incentive or something like that. So it's kind of a holistic look about how we can encourage charging. So that will not be dependent on federal funding.
Not dependent. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we probably do need to bring things to a close. And Emily, I think probably you want to move on. You're welcome to stay. But thank you very much for the.
Yeah, thank you for having
update.
me. It's really nice to see you all. Thank you for supporting our work.